property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman. Your car, our passion. And by Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures. Visit dormanday.ky.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman. Welcome to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. I hope everybody that's on their way to work and school is having a pleasant drive in this morning. The roads are nice and smooth, and I can't believe we're at the end of September. This is the last Thursday in September, which is really crazy because just the other day I felt like I couldn't believe kids were going back to school. And in saying that, we are wrapping up the month of September, but September was also Recovery Month. And as Recovery Month observance comes to a close, we're reminded that mental health and substance use disorders affect individuals and families across all communities. And almost all of us feel this in the Cayman Islands. We, in fact, had an incident earlier this week dealing with, it was a mental health incident where we lost a young man in the Cayman Islands. But with the right commitment, support, recovery is possible. So since 1997, the Caribbean Haven Residential Center has been a lifeline for those struggling with addiction. Caribbean Haven serves men and women over 18 who are legally resident in the Cayman Islands, providing detox, residential treatment, counseling, and aftercare. Most clients face not only substance use disorders, but also co-occurring mental health challenges and histories of trauma. Today we'll hear from Kimberly Febres, clinical supervisor at Caribbean Haven, about how the program works, who they serve, and the importance of community support. And we're also joined by Brian Yelverton, a former client with an inspiring recovery journey who completed the program about 1.5 years ago and is now courageously living a sober lifestyle. So good morning to my guests. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you. Brian, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. We're going to get into that in a few minutes.
Yes.
And Kimberly, we're going to start with some background information on Caribbean Haven. So for those who are unfamiliar, can you explain Caribbean Haven's mission and who you serve?
Yes, so Caribbean Haven is part of the Department of Counseling Services, and our mission is really to foster a healthy and resilient population in the Cayman Islands. So we serve adults, men and women over the age of 18 who are struggling with substance use, and many of the people who come to us also have co-occurring mental health concerns and even complex histories of trauma that they're dealing with.
Okay, what is the process for somebody to get admitted? Yeah. Can they enter themselves? Are they referred by somebody else? Is it a professional referral?
Yeah, both. So people can self-refer if they know they want to come, and they can be referred by a doctor, a mental health professional, even the court system if they're involved in the legal system in any way, or the prison system. So all they would need to do is start by giving us a call. We do a phone screening to just go over a bit of the eligibility criteria, get to know them a little bit, and then the process can get started very quickly after that.
Do you find that you have a lot of people who are self-referring?
We do, yeah.
That's
probably
incredible.
Yeah, more than half of our clients tend to be self-referred.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a difference at all, do you find, between those who self-refer themselves and those who are referred professionally?
Not always. I mean, some people go through the professional path just because that's part of their support network, and that can be a really positive thing. But sometimes motivations do differ in the beginning stages. And no matter where someone starts, we can always work with you. And, whatever your motivation is when you come in, that's a great place to start.
Yes.
As long as you have some motivation for change.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes that one first step of
Right.
just making the decision. Mm-hmm. Which can also be sometimes the hardest step for people. What does the recovery program look like, and how long do clients usually stay?
It is intensive, so I want to make that clear to people who are considering it, but it's a really good program. We use a model called dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, and the average length of stay is anywhere from 3 to 6 months, although we've had people stay as long as 1 year or 2 years to get everything they need from the program. So within that time, in the first 3 to 6 months, people will engage in group sessions, individual counseling, individual therapy, holistic kind of wraparound case management care. And then once they've achieved sort of the primary goals that they're working on during that time, then they have the opportunity to slowly reintegrate back into the community in a program we call reentry. So they start going out slowly with some support and then more and more on their own until they're job seeking, working full time, gaining more independence and ready to move on.
Is it all inpatient care?
It is, yes.
Okay. So there's no kind of half in between. You might stay a couple days at the residential center. You might be a couple days at home. There's nothing like that?
Nothing like that. But what some people do is just come and do an initial non-medical detox with us. And if they already have a lot of protective factors, like maybe they have a safe place to stay, maybe they have a job, they might transition then after doing a week-long detox to our community-based office, which is the counseling center in Georgetown.
What is a non-medical, did you say detox?
Detox.
What does that look like?
Yeah, so the detox is the period where you stop using substances and just allow everything, all the toxins to clear out of your body. So we are non-medical, meaning we don't have doctors on staff or nurses on staff. So it would be appropriate for anyone with kind of mild to moderate withdrawal symptoms. If people are withdrawing from things like alcohol or some other classes of substances, they may need to do a medically supervised detox at the hospital first before coming to us.
Okay, that's interesting to me. Beyond treatment, and I wish we could go into more detail with that, but a lot of time doesn't give us that today. So beyond the treatment, how do you help clients reintegrate into daily life and hopefully maintain sobriety? Yeah,
that's a great question, and I hope Brian will share a little bit about that in a bit too, because the treatment is important, and for many people it's the first step back into sobriety, but it's the systems around them that are going to help them maintain it. So setting up a healthy social support network, having ways to contribute positively to the community through employment or volunteering or both. Attending peer support groups like AA or NA, just having as much in place. We call them protective factors, just having as many things in place that kind of create a safety net for someone so that when they're struggling, they're not alone. They've got things around them and things in place to help them to continue on their journey.
Which is really important, absolutely. I mean, you just can't put somebody back out cold turkey into the world who had these challenges already to deal with and will need that support network for sure. So I think that's really important. That's great that you guys do offer that support network as well.
And it's ongoing. I just want to add that too, that after treatment with us, we also encourage people to do counseling on an outpatient basis or have some sort of activity where they're continuing their wellness and their self-care, because addiction is very chronic, so it needs long-term attention.
And is it lifelong? Like, are you considered to be in recovery for the rest of your life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but for some reason that idea hits me away because I also, I want to think that it's something that you've dealt with. You've gone over it. You know what to do now. You've evolved in your life, a different person, a little stronger in certain things. That I almost don't. I wouldn't want that cloud of I'm forever recovering. Like, to me, it almost seems like pressure. I don't know, and I'm gonna ask you, Brian, when it gets there for that. But it almost seems like a little. Let me ask you now. Does it ever feel like a little bit of pressure as you've gone through a recovery journey? Do you feel like for the rest of your life you're going to be considered somebody in recovery still?
No.
Does that feel like pressure?
No, it doesn't feel like pressure, but I believe that it keeps me focused on trying to do the things that are maintaining my recovery,
Okay.
And after a while, it becomes natural at least for me, that's how it is, because I still continue to go to NA meetings and be of service in the NA meetings, and it's become a part of my lifestyle, I enjoy doing it.
Okay. Back to you, Kim, if you could explain what the day-to-day kind of process could be like in a program. I'm sure it would be different for everybody as well, but a typical kind of day-to-day.
A typical day is very structured, and we do that on purpose because a lot of times people who are in active addiction have sort of a chaotic experience and not a lot of routine and structure. So we put structures in place that address all different things. So sleep, good nutrition, time in therapy and doing, the treatment program, but also time to rest, time to play, right? Relax and do fun things and then time to kind of connect with loved ones. So a typical day is probably going to include most of those things, during the week. And then on the weekend, then we incorporate visit times and, some social outings and things like that. So yeah, so you're going to get up in the morning, you're going to have your breakfast, you're going to go to your first group. Maybe you'll have a session with your therapist, maybe some time to work on some of your DBT skills after that, and then back into group. So it is quite regimented, but that helps a lot of people just stay busy and focused on those treatment activities, and doesn't leave a lot of kind of idle time to
get into some trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard. Like, downtime is hard for people in early recovery, so we try to fill that as much as we can.
There's some sort of a little Caribbean proverb, not even a Caribbean proverb, what idle hands make something. I forget what that little proverb is, but when it's going to come to us. Susan, I know it's in your head somewhere, and she's going to hit me with it. Oh, there. She said, idle hands is the devil's work.
Yeah.
That's what Susan said. See, I knew Susan would have it right there. The structure is very important, and I'm glad you repeated that word, because it was when you were talking about reintegrating recovering addicts into the community, about how you're trying to have some structure around them to help them. I think in general, for people, for everyone, structure is so important in our lives. And whatever point you learn that, I wish I learned it a lot earlier in my life, but whatever part you learn, it's so important.
We have to get up, we go to work, and and our clients also do things like learn some cooking skills. They help out in the kitchen and they do chores, and sometimes we get some pushback around that, and I say, hey, I get it. Like, I don't like having to work all day and then go home and cook, but that's just part of being a responsible adult, and it's good to practice those life skills.
It's especially single life. So practice it. Yes. So we know that Recovery Month isn't just about awareness, but it's also about action. Can you share some details? There's an upcoming Family Fun Day at the Cayman Turtle Center this Saturday.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great day for people to come out, bring your families. Admission is free, but you do have to pre-register, and that could be done by calling our main office, which is 949-8789. Just tell us who's coming, and we'll save a spot for you. And it's just going to be a great, sober day. We're going to have fun swimming with the turtles. Lunch will be provided. We've got some great door prizes. Just a day to honor people who are on their recovery journey.
Awesome. I love the Turtle Farm, so it should be a good day for sure. Is there a cost to go into the recovery program?
No, our program is fully funded by the government, so
Wonderful. It's
available at no cost to anyone who's legally resident in Cayman.
Wow, that's wonderful. And if you are trying to make that choice to better yourself, a lot of times money can be the barrier in seeking help. So the fact that Caribbean Haven Residential Center offers this program, a recovery program that is fully funded by the government, that just takes, I think, a huge load off of somebody's shoulders that is trying to better themselves. I think
Absolutely.
It's awesome that that's afforded to the people. All right, Brian, we're gonna turn to you.
All right.
Thank you again for coming to share your story. So, if you would like to tell us about your journey with addiction and what brought you to Caribbean Haven, I guess, how did it begin for you?
My addiction was very It was very progressive. It started off with just alcohol and ganja and stuff like that, and but even with that, my alcoholism grew heavy. Had drunk spells a lot. Became so addicted to marijuana that it was like breathing, and I felt like my mind wasn't in the right place unless I had a spliff in the morning, and then I've had plenty of attempts at trying to get clean and sober, but I always would fall and fail, and relapse. And every time I did, my addiction took another step. Went on to like ecstasy, mushrooms, cocaine, crack. It just kept on getting further and further. And
when you mentioned these drugs, was it really easily accessible for you to get that in Cayman?
Yeah, for me it was definitely because I was really raised up around the type of neighborhoods that was
where it's more prevalent.
Yeah. And it came to a point where my addiction dominated me in every aspect of my life, crushed me, took over my thinking process. That's all I could think about. And I mean, it even came to the point that, like, no matter what I was trying to pursue, I couldn't reach it because I felt like I needed to get that first.
Yeah.
And when I got that, I never did anything else but do that for the rest of the day. There was mornings I would wake up starving and saying to myself, if I just get some money, I'll buy myself something to eat, even if it's a bag of chips or something, because I'm just so hungry. But as soon as I get the money, I would go straight to the drug dealer and get drugs. Everything that I had would go to the drugs. I was homeless.
How long were you homeless for?
Years on years and years. And
where were you?
I would sleep on the
sleeping?
beach or sometimes in an abandoned house, and just various random places. And I was constantly in front of like Foster's or some Subway or some kind of store, and asking people for some change and stuff, begging for money for food. And again, I was hungry. I wanted food, but as soon as I get the money, you know what I mean? My mind would just flip to that. So, and there was even times I just said, you know what, boy, all I need is a job or something to just sort out my life, and I could just probably just try to maintain and use responsibly or whatever and stuff. But even when somebody offered me a job, I got a job interview or something, and I mean, they knew where I was in my situation. They just wanted to help, but I couldn't make it to the interview because the first thing in the morning, my mind has to get that, and once I get that, it's
Right.
collateral effect,
That's where you just wanted to focus on.
Yeah. And then I think that was a big struggle I had, because there was plenty of attempts at Caribbean Haven, but my mind was always just focused on once I get my life sorted out and get a job in my own place, then I could probably just smoke a little weed or not even smoke weed, just drink a little. Had these reservations in my mind, and every single time that's what my downfall ended up being. And then I think other times too that
You thought you'd be able to control your use at that point. Okay.
Yes, I had, and I think after a while that delusion was once I was able to take suggestions and direction and like just surrender to the program, and I was able to see that I am not. Once I was able to look truthfully at my past attempts and what drugs have done to me, I could clearly see that I can't use drugs successfully.
We got to go to a commercial break, but I want to know, and maybe we can think about this over the commercial break, if there was like a catalyst or a certain point that you made that switch and were like, no, I really, really have to try on this attempt. So in recovery. Let's go to a commercial break right now. When we come back, we'll hear the rest about your story, your journey.
All right.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Heber Elroy Arch, 1898-1993.
Elroy Arch was born in Georgetown, the second child of James Heber and Virginia Arch. He was a man of many talents: preacher, politician, building contractor, shipwright, butcher, and farmer. With his father and brothers, he built many of the sailing ships whose names are still remembered, including the Wilson, Goldfield, Adams, and Arbutus. The schooners built in the Arch shipyard were used by Caymanian seamen for turtling in the Mosquito Keys and to bring cargo from the foreign ports. Mr. Elroy served as a member of the Assembly of Justices and Vestry from 1939 to 1954. When visitors from the United States discovered Cayman as a vacation destination, Mr. Elroy built the first winter homes and the first hotel on 7 Mile Beach. He and his wife, Bride Nee Bodden, had 2 children. Mr. Elroy had a wealth of knowledge about Cayman's history and loved to tell the stories told to him by his parents and grandparents, and taped many of these accounts for the National Trust and National Archive and the National Museum.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Attention Cayman, transform your kitchen for less with Granite Express Cayman. Skip the Christmas rush and take advantage of our year-end promotion. Offer is valid until October 31st. Refresh your space with our cabinet respray services and quartz countertops for as low as $3,950. Selected material. If you only need a countertop, prices start at $2,250. Don't miss this limited time offer. Visit Granite Express Cayman today or call 922-0424 for our free estimate. Granite Express, quality stone, unbeatable prices.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking about Recovery Month. Right now, we are hearing about the addiction journey from Brian Yelverton. He is a former client of Caribbean Haven, and he's in studio with us right now. And as well, we have clinical supervisor at Caribbean Haven, Kimberly Febrez. Now, Brian was sharing his story of addiction and recovery and where he is in his journey right now. And as he mentioned, when he was at Caribbean Haven, he'd been there several times. There was several attempts at trying to get over his addiction, which was with alcohol and marijuana at the time. And then Brian said he kept returning. And so I asked right before the break, was there like a catalyst? Was there a certain moment that had you take recovery differently for it to be successful for you?
Yeah, I think my last time coming in was I reflected a lot because before I even came in, I was really defeated and really wanted change, you know, and I was at a point where I was like, am I hopeless? Like, is there like no way to make this possible, you know? Because I just really want to make it work, you know, and I felt like I've tried my best or whatever, but a question was asked to me by the counselors. They said, well, Brian, what are you going to do different this time? And I reflected on my relapses and what was I doing that I could have done better, and And a lot of times, the counselors have always gave me constructive criticism, you know, and gave me direction. But it was me thinking in my head, well, nah, I'll take this, but that, and no, and I think I'm doing right over here, and that's my own stubbornness, you know.
You were kind of picking and choosing how you could be treated.
Exactly, and it doesn't seem to really work that way, you know. But once I was able to take accountability for what I was doing wrong and reflect, and when that question was asked to me, what am I going to do different this time? What came to my head, because I didn't really have an answer at that point in time. I was kind of defeated and confused and wondering. But after being in the withdrawal management unit, I got time to sit there and think. And I said, you know what I need to do different this time? Everything. I just need to do everything, you know, and stop questioning it or having a defense for it. Cause a lot of time I'm thinking to myself, well, how is this supposed to work? Oh, meditation, sit down, and I'm supposed to make, you know,
right.
breathing, and I'm always questioning and defying things. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to be honest, open-minded, and willing. And once I did that, I found certain things working through time. It didn't happen right away like how I'd want it to, because as an addict, we want instant gratification. We want whatever we're doing to have instant rewards, you know. But through gaining some internal strength and being able to change certain character defects, and you notice, everybody notices changes in you before you notice it in yourself. But when I started noticing it in myself, I started feeling like, wow, I have a fighting chance. Mm-hmm. And from the time I seen those results happening, I said to myself, well, I'm going to grab on any opportunity that helps strengthen me and growth in my recovery. And that even whatever it was, I was at least going to be open-minded and willing to try. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I didn't really like the yoga thing, but
but I tried.
But I tried it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I took it on and give it a try, and it was nice and all. But I found some other things that I gravitated towards more. You know.
I just want to say I didn't like yoga either, and then I tried it, and it's done tremendous things for me.
Yeah,
so I get it.
Exactly. Yeah. So
well, you got out of your own way in general,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Great point. Yeah. We tend to be in our own way a lot of the time. So I think it was incredible that you did surrender to it and say, no, I'm going to be completely open to what this recovery process is, instead of trying to, I guess, insert in what you thought you could make it better for yourself, because it wasn't working that way, right? So, I mean, that's a great story right there. I'm cognizant of the time and looking here. When you walked into Caribbean Haven for the last time, now, not the first time, but the last time, what part of the program do you feel, I guess, had the biggest impact on you? Because you're currently in recovery, right?
Yeah.
You haven't relapsed. So what part of that last time you've been there had the biggest impact?
The biggest impact, I can't really say, because all of it is impacting me, and there's so many things that impacted me. But I think what Ms. Kimberly was sharing about what Caribbean Haven has to offer, I think all of that is what really, because all of it is needed, you know what I mean? But I think why I always ran to Caribbean Haven a lot is because I know that it was a safe environment where everything I needed was provided, and it gave me time to work on myself.
Okay.
You know? And then again, the reentry phase is a place where I can go look for work, get a job, and start being able to gain some independence and transition back to the community safely in a healthy way, and also have a recovery support like NA and all that. Because again, when you're in reentry phase, you have to attend 2 meetings, whether AA or NA, out of the week, and that kind of builds a routine.
Right, that
you know
structure
what I mean?
again, yeah.
And again, like I said, right now in my life, that's kind of a part of my life. That's just natural now. It's not something like how it was in the beginning, and when I was in rehab, when I was like, we gotta go to these meetings again.
Yeah.
But now it's like, another time for.
Did you feel you had structure in your life?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Far from
it's
it.
such an important theme to me here. And your reintegration, what was this process like for you? Do you find that, I think job seeking can be a really hard thing to do, because it's a small island. A lot of people will have run into you or know you as an addict and don't necessarily have a soft spot in their heart and understanding, okay, you're a recovered addict now. and giving you a chance to kind of reintegrate and join like the labor force, for example. What's that been like?
Well, I'll tell you, no lie, that was like always the scariest part in my mind as I was attempting recovery, because again, I didn't have a big resume. There was a big gap of nothingness.
Yeah.
And I've been to prison for substance abuse. And again, like you said, I'm known on the street for being that drug addict. So it was like I never really had opportunities for jobs. I wasn't looking like, oh, we want this guy on our team. You know what I mean? Kind of.
Yeah.
So it was always a big, scary feeling, you know? And even when I got into the reentry phase this last time, which, again, I think working the beginning of that program the way I did made it so much better when I got into reentry phase compared to the other times. Because the other times my mind was in a different area, but things that happened that would normally make me relapse, I didn't relapse. Like, I got this tourism job, and then it got slow, and then I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay.
You were scared that, what's
like,
going to happen,
Yeah, but instantly I got back into, all right, you know what, I'm going to look at the next job. Okay. And it might be still going to be tough, but I'm going to keep trying, and I got Caribbean Haven here with me, and they're backing me and supporting me.
Good.
You know what I mean? I'm in a good place, so I don't need to worry. And again, that kind of thinking process is not something I usually have, but again, through the help of the counselors in the program, I was able to think that way. You know what I mean?
It's building your
Good
resilience.
for you.
Yeah,
and changing your mindset. And Brian, I hate to cut you off, but I have to. It's 8 a.m. We're going to have to go to the 8 a.m. news. I'm so sorry. I have to end the show right now. And I knew it wasn't long enough for us. And I really want to spend more time in discussing this with you, because I think your story can help a lot of people out there. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, and Kimberly for arranging to come in as well. If you wanted a last plug, I know we said the Turtle Center event is going to happen on Saturday. It's free for people?
It's free. Yep. Just call us to pre-register 949-8789. And I'll just quickly give the number for Caribbean Haven, which is 947-9992.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. We got to go to the 8 a.m. news. And then after the news, I'm going to be joined by the Cayman Islands National Party. We have Chairperson Dan Scott. We have as well the Honorable Minister Michael Myles, who's also the Deputy Leader of the Cayman Islands National Party, and Chelsea Rivers, who is a board member on the National Party. Okay, we're going to be welcoming them at 8:15.
Thank you, Kathy. And the studio time now is 8:01. Brought to you with the kind compliments of Foster's.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop, or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health, because we care.
Covering Little Cayman, Cayman Bride. Cover me.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The judge overseeing a Grand Court gun case is expected to deliver her summation today. Kirk Monroe is accused of possessing an illegal firearm. While he admits the weapon was found in his possession, he claims that he found it at his business, a local bar called Ultra Lounge, back in 2021. After the summation, the jury will be sent out to deliberate. Today is World Maritime Day.
This year's theme, Our Ocean, Our Obligations, Our Opportunity, serves as a profound reminder of the important role our oceans play in sustaining life, driving economies, and connecting communities worldwide.
Premier the Honorable Andre Ebanks says it is vital to protect this invaluable resource. In a special statement, the Premier highlighted recent achievements, including the successful Cayman Islands 3-code proxy audit and a monitoring visit from the Red Ensign Group. He also paid tribute to generations of Caymanian seafarers whose legacy continues today, praising their role in building the economy and supporting families. Quick note, Finance Committee is meeting today in Parliament. You'll be able to listen to the proceedings live on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM. The meeting is scheduled to start at 10 a.m. And Caribbean development, structure, culture, and social interactions are being discussed, explored, and analyzed this week right here in the Cayman Islands. Radio Cayman's Jevi Ebanks is at the University College of the Cayman Islands with more.
Carsley, good morning. I'm here at the 5th Annual Caribbean Sociological Conference happening at the UCCI Sir Vassal Johnson Hall. The theme is Mobilizing Caribbean Sociologies, Bridging Theory, Method, and the Field of Sociology for Sustainable Caribbean Development. The event kicked off officially last evening with 3 days of activities expected to proceed, though what happened last night wasn't the first event on the official calendar. Earlier in the day on Wednesday, the schedule saw 2 roundtable discussions. The first, the developmental perspective amongst Caribbean youths, and the second, the state of sociology globally. At the opening ceremony, it saw educators, scholars, and distinguished guests gather to celebrate the relevance of sociology in local society and the extent of its impact. Guests heard from past presidents, as well as an address from the Honorable Isaac Rankin, Minister of Innovation and Social Development, Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage, as well as Ms. Heather Bodden, Parliamentary Secretary representing Education Minister, the Honorable Ralston Anglin. The next 2 days is jam-packed with activities like plenaries, panels, and workshops. On the night, we also heard a keynote address from Dr. Alyssa Trotz, who spoke about transnational migration, remittance, and diaspora engagement, focusing on the role of Caribbean identity in overseas nation and the role of financial remittance. And this was only the first day, with so much more planned. It's all happening at the Sir Vassal Johnson Hall, so if persons want to attend, they can register on the hall on any day the conference is happening. The conference continues through the 26th. From UCCI, I'm Jevi Ebanks.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Govinda Gill. A court in Paris has sentenced the former French President Nicolas Sarkozy to 5 years in jail after finding him guilty of criminal conspiracy. He will go to prison regardless of whether he appeals. The case relates to efforts to obtain illicit election campaign funds from Libya. Denmark's Prime Minister has spoken to NATO's chief after drones forced the closure of some Danish airports this week. Mette Frederiksen said the alliance had agreed to help ensure security. Officials in Indonesia say more than 1,000 children have suffered food poisoning this week after eating school lunches. The president launched the multi-billion-dollar free meals project earlier this year. Sri Lankan police say 7 Buddhist monks have died in a cable car crash. They'd been travelling to the top of a mountain to meditate. The charity Save the Children is warning that nearly half of Somalian children under 5 are at risk of acute malnutrition by the middle of next year. It says the country is on the brink of a hunger emergency due to climate disasters, rising food prices, and conflict. Italy and Spain are deploying military vessels to assist a Gaza-bound international aid flotilla that's come under drone attack. The Swedish activist Greta Thunberg is among those on board the flotilla. That's the latest BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Mark your calendars for the Caribbean's ultimate gaming event. In the heart of the Caribbean, a storm is rising, the battleground is set, and the ultimate showdown is about to begin. This year, the games hit harder than ever. Fortnite, FC 25, Super Smash Bros, NBA 2K25, and iRacing. Whether you're building, brawling, scoring, or driving, this is your stage. Top cosplayers, content creators, and gamers are flying in for one epic weekend in Grand Cayman. Meet Brown Bakugo, Kawiwi, and Austin John Plays. Snap pics, get autographs, or even one-on-one them live on stage. Gamers Bay isn't just a tournament, it's cosplay, merch, VR, creator booth, free play zones, prizes, and the epicenter of Caribbean esports. Think you've got what it takes? Step up and compete for your share of $10,000 in cash and prizes. Win glory, bragging rights, and cold hard cash. Gamers Bay 9, September 27th and 28th at the John Gray Gymnasium. Level up, lock in, let's play. For tickets and team registrations, head over to gamersbayevent.com.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Bridgecay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the very latest weather report.
Current temperature is 87 degrees. Relative humidity is 77%. The barometric pressure is 29.94 inches and falling. The wind is northeast at 6 knots. Overnight low was 85. Synopsis indicate a weak pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean will allow for a few isolated showers and possible thunder, along with light northeasterly winds and slight smooth seas across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours. Radar imagery indicate isolated showers in and around the Cayman area. The National Hurricane Center continues to issue advisories on Hurricane Gabrielle and Tropical Storm Umberto. Further information on these systems can be found at www.nhc.noaa.gov. Additionally, the National Hurricane Center is monitoring an area of disturbed weather in the Northwest Caribbean, designated as AL94. The Cayman Islands National Weather Service will continue to monitor this system for any development. These systems pose no threat to the Cayman Islands at this time. Forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers and thunder, and temperatures will be near the low 90s with a heat index near 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Your winds will be northeasterly at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Forecast for tonight, calling for partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy at times, with a 30% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures falling near the low 80s tonight. Your winds will be northeasterly at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet for tonight. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 11:29, low tide this evening at 12 minutes past 5, and a high tide again tonight at 10:16. The sun will set this evening at 6:18 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:15. And the outlook is calling for an increased chance of cloudiness and showers expected across the Cayman area from Friday, as the area of disturbed weather currently over the northeast Caribbean moves west over eastern Cuba. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
On Angie, how does it feel to have broken the bull riding world record?
Sore, Sean. That bull was angry.
Angie, I think that bull is headed towards your red convertible.
I broke the world record and he broke my car. Oh well, at least I've got CG Comprehensive Motor to cover this.
Get covered for collision, damage, and more. CG Brit-K. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Brit-K, where people come first.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning. Let's take a quick spin through the island's traffic scene to help you cruise into your day with confidence. Whether you're heading to work, school, or just out for a morning drive, we've got the latest update traffic-wise. On Cool Road, heading to Georgetown, traffic is slow-moving. Expect some delays. Steady traffic on the Linford Pearson Highway. And coming off of Bobby Thompson Way and Agnes Way, a little steady traffic. Further up on Shamrock Road, traffic flowing at a moderate pace. As we look to downtown Georgetown on Edward Street, light to moderate traffic flow. And out of Georgetown on Shedmore, looking pretty good. And coming from the West Bay 4-way stop, flowing at a moderate pace. And on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moving along moderately. Have you seen the accidents? Let us know by giving us a ring at 949-6990. Coming off of the Estella Tibbetts Highway, steady with flowing traffic. And continuing on to North Sound Road. No issues on Industrial Park area as traffic flowing at a moderate pace. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another traffic update. Remember, click it or ticket.
Get ready for something sweet, spicy, and totally crave-worthy. The hot honey chicken sandwich is here, and it's bringing the heat. We've taken our tender, juicy chicken and drenched it in bold hot honey sauce for the perfect balance of sweetness and spice. But hurry, this one's only here for a limited time. Hot honey chicken. Try it today before it's gone. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman is proud to continue to serve our island community. The club continues to host successful community projects like the Prostate and Colon Cancer Awareness Campaign, free site screening in schools, spelling bee, swim meets, and their community pantry. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman looks forward to continuing their service for many years to come. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman, where there's a need, there's a lion, serving the community for over 50 years.
The 7:20 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Credit Union, on the road to 50 years of serving our members. Visit creditunion.ky to join today.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz, and I'm your host, Kathy Miller. If you're just tuning in to the show, welcome to the show. In this segment, we're diving into the heart of Caymanian politics and community with the Cayman Islands National Party. We'll hear all about the new Cayman Islands National Party board. We'll explore the party's evolving role within the coalition government and discuss the party's vision for Cayman's future. So I want to say a welcome to my guests, Mr. Dan Scott, chairman of the Cayman Islands National Party. Also, Ms. Chelsea Rivers, a Cayman Islands National Party general member. And we are waiting on the Honourable Michael Myles, Minister for Caymanian Employment and Immigration and a deputy leader of the Cayman Islands National Party. So good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
It's very good to have you here.
Good to be here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I promised Chelsea, I said, Chelsea, oh no, just wait till I have this intro for you. And she thought, exactly, what is she going to say? Because I didn't write it down in my outline or anything. But I met Chelsea on Nominations Day. So I think that was Monday, March 3rd, I want to say. It was at the John Gray Gym. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I was wrangling people up for their interviews. You just declared, let me hear a little bit about you. What's your aims in this election? And Chelsea came up to me and said, were you able to talk to this person and that person and this person? Now, I had an experience with another party that said, you don't talk, we're going to decide who they're going to talk to and when. And I was like, oh, you don't decide anything. You young wrangler in this other party. No, you don't. And I didn't want to go and talk to their people because you just wronged the media, right? So they had to learn quickly then and there. But I loved you, Chelsea. I loved you because from that moment on, you were in contact with me. Any interviews we had to do here, yes, you had your rep here, Anita Khan, which took care of you guys greatly. Mm-hmm. But when it came to the interview stuff, and there was so many holes for us to plug and so many wires getting crossed, you were in great communication with me. So I've worked with a lot of marketers, a lot of agencies in Cayman over the last 20 years, and you have blown so many people away. Wow. Your organization, your time management, your communication is impeccable. And the Cayman Islands National Party, in my very subjective opinion, is very lucky to have you. Thank you did a tremendous job with them. And you do a tremendous job when it comes to the PR, the marketing side for that party. So,
girl, I appreciate it.
I have to give you your kudos live on air like this because you absolutely deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. We give the flowers when we can to people. So,
Amen.
Amen.
Right?
Mr. Dan Scott, I don't know you that well, so
no, but
maybe next interview I will. Come in harder with your intro.
But you're absolutely right, and it does make all the difference. And part of it in the case of Chelsea is, this is when you're passionate about something and it matters. And so the amount of work that was done, and as you rightly pointed out, and I thank you for that, it matters. These are the people who make a difference. And in our case, Chelsea's done a tremendous job and continues to do that.
Yeah, right? She does, yeah. And I think one of my favorite moments with Chelsea was you were just, hi, good morning, how are you? And I said, just spit it out. Just whenever you need to talk to me, just be really direct, because we're so busy, so we don't need to do the formalities. And you were like, great.
I'm here for that.
And that's how we communicated, and it was wonderful. So great to have you in studio in a slightly different role now with the National Party, right? So I'm going to start with you, Dan. Yes. If you could share with our listeners what inspired the formation of the new board for the Cayman Islands National Party, and what kind of fresh energy does this bring?
Well, thank you for the question. As we started off, the board was founded in the whole concept of the Cayman Islands National Party, and we had a founding board members, and part of that, in accordance with our constitution, it provided that we could have additional board members. But throughout and leading up to the election, we were focused on that. We were focused on running a campaign. And following that, at the end of the election, it was then determined it was the right time, because we had members and otherwise, to make sure that we put in place what we will now term the interim board, such that we brought a number of other folks onto the board. And it went through the normal voting process. Democracy at work. And the idea here is that this will be an interim board through probably the next 6 to 8 months, at which point in time we will have our annual meeting, and all board seats will be up for, again, the membership to vote on it and determine who they think the right board should be to continue to lead the party. So that's where we've gotten to with the current board. Good news around it is, by the addition of other board members, the energy level, the different skill sets that have been added is really good, and I think it really helps to drive us forward on our overall mission of making a difference. And we talk about it in terms of the CINP difference. It's bringing new ideas. It is focused, and in many cases founded at the core of this on, as you would know, the Nolan principles as to how do you operate in public life. And overall, in our Constitution as it was based, it really is to put the power back in the hands of the people and build something and hopefully bring to life what good looks like as a public servant. So we'll continue to drive this forward.
I actually don't know about the Nolan principles, so now I'm absolutely making a note of this.
You asked.
Yes.
So if you can tell, what is the Nolan principle?
Well, Nolan principles are, they come up to, there's 7 of them, and they refer to the ethical standards in public life. And just quick top down on them, it's selflessness, honesty, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, and leadership. And that at the core is the foundation that we believe you should really build your public representation on, and indeed select leaders that drive and truly believe in those things. They're not just buzzwords, but it's at the core of the values of what we have and what we have as a party. And it was interesting, in our headquarters, our Secretary General, Anthony Rich, had it actually posted all over the walls. So keep reminding people of these things. This is what we're here for. And it gives you, you test yourself on those 7 items. Am I staying true to this? And we think those principles serve us well.
They're almost like character traits, very much in a
they
sense.
They are. And what you practice becomes who you are.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And it's interesting that you mention those principles, because if that's how the Cayman Islands National Party is governing themselves, it's the way that I believe all parties, all political representatives should be governing themselves when you are serving the public. However, we have seen in other countries around the world that's not necessarily happening, especially when we look at the United States, with one of the greatest democracies that there is. The honesty, the integrity has fallen apart. And we see, when that happens, the state of a country. So I don't want to talk about the U.S. per se, but we see what happens when some of those principles are missing. So we hope that Cayman can move forward in the direction that we are going right now, that we don't continue, or that we don't fall prey to any of the other global events that are happening that could influence in any way.
Agreed. It's interesting as well with sort of for me, for the allure of the National Party, before it was named, just the Dan Scott group, is knowing that those principles were the baseline for criteria when you're searching for candidates that you're hoping that will get elected. It comes naturally if they're already embodying those principles. So it's not something that you can learn. You naturally are a loyal person or someone of integrity.
Yes.
Trying to find numbers to make numbers, people that you could incorporate just to have 19 people. You're not going to find that across the entire group, which is why it was such a specific criteria of selection for Dan when he was looking for the right people. There wasn't the urgency to get 19 people. It was getting the right people, whatever number that looked like. Obviously, you're looking for majority. So pulling together that group that already embodied those principles was such an important element, I think, in the success of the party.
All who apply are not qualified.
Exactly.
And that's very important.
There were many.
In all aspects of our life to remember, all who apply are not qualified. To go back to
I think the nice thing about where we've reached is you look at the coalition government, and what you have now is a government who we believe subscribe to these principles.
Mm-hmm.
It matters to them. And, as your earlier point around where countries get to, it's our choice as to where we want to be.
Yes.
And I always encourage people, we have to understand geopolitics, but we don't have to live it. And, wherever people line up, that's individual. But my concern all too often is that as Caymanians, we are very focused outside, but the things that we can fix and the difference we can make and the good that we can do starts here. The United States is a big country. We don't vote there. That's for them to determine that. We need to determine what we want to do here in Cayman. And in many respects, we get a chance to set a really good example for the globe because we do embrace what is good, what is right, what is honest, and what is honorable. And we frankly can be the example. It's a bit like teaching our kids. We want to be the example for them. And frankly, as a country, we have a chance to do that.
Absolutely. Be the example that you want them to see.
Absolutely.
I want to go back to the foundation of the board, as you had mentioned. Can you explain what the role of the board is, what the function of the board is within the party?
Well, the function of the board is, as you would note with any board, it's overall governance. It's establishing strategy as we go forward, the vision, keeping it alive. And in due course, then there'll be various committees that are established coming out of the board and various work streams, which is part of what we did as we were leading up to the election. But they will include, among other things, because at some point in time in the future, the determination around what are our priorities, how do we continue to message that, how do we continue to support, frankly, the good work of the current coalition government. And then at some point in the future, there will be the conversations again of elections in 4 years' time. And so all of that is establishing the structure, the governance, the oversight of all things as it relates to CINP. And CINP is not one individual. It is determined by the board and the members, and they go forward, and this is their party. As it says, it's the Cayman Islands National Party.
Right. Now, how many members would you say are part of the party right now?
I don't have an exact count right now. I know we probably have sitting there, I think there's over 100 new applicants in addition to what we have that just need to get processed pretty quickly, and others have indicated interest. So, yeah, it's certainly we're on a growth train right now.
Absolutely. I would say 100 new applications is a pretty good number to be looking at. So, Chelsea, for you, you're general member of the Cayman Islands National Party. You were recently elected to the board?
I was.
Okay. Yep. So what the role that you're playing on the board, can you
since that election, I mean, we've sat down as a board, we've had our first board meeting, and obviously there's committees that come out of this, for the continuation of the party and the growth. I somehow managed to find myself in the marketing committee.
Really?
I don't know how that happened. And our first committee meeting will be this weekend, actually. So we are in the process of, we'd already had it. We'd built, the strategy and the plan, for the campaign, for the election, and then start looking forward, after election. So it's just a matter of firming that up, and there's so many good ideas. The membership, is constantly giving feedback, and there's a lot that can be done within the community through the party. But just as ourselves, the party is made up of very community-focused and community-minded people. So you've got youth engagement, you've got obviously the PR and the marketing side of it, but through marketing then we will be touching on all of the other committees, the fundraising arm, the membership arm, to try and bring that forward, put it, front and center with the community, and then drive all of the initiatives that we're looking for.
Now, being on a board myself, a couple of them myself, and understanding that we have to have members.
Yes.
And, that adds to our success, right? How good we're doing, our influence and our impact in the community. There's always the question I have to the boards that I'm on and to other boards, what are the benefits to being a member? So when it comes to the Cayman Islands National Party, if somebody wants to join the party as a member, what are the benefits for them?
So the individual that got that membership committee is Eddie Thompson. So part of his remit will then be looking at that tiered membership approach and also the donor approach. You have to keep moving with funding to be able to achieve all of the initiatives that we have on our plate. So we're in the process of formulating how that's going to look. It's going to be more than just a political party. Where we started out as a movement, it was a very community-focused movement. So there will be opportunities, obviously on the political front, depending on the tier of membership, to be in attendance at events, to be part of the initiatives that we're working on. But we'd like to use the membership to be more active in the community, not just I'm a member of this, here's my card, I attend meetings, I get newsletters. It's actively, as Caymanians, taking control of our country and being at the forefront of the initiatives, not just sitting and waiting for things to happen. So for us, it's involvement, it's participation, it's benefiting from all that we're going to achieve as a country, as a people, not just in name and title and position.
So you don't have to have any political aspirations per se to join.
No,
okay.
Quite the contrary, and I think it's as Chelsea rightly pointed out, it is not so much what do we get by joining. It's what can we give by joining. Mm-hmm. What do we give to our country? And I mean that's been the core of what we've done, as much as what it is what it's not. It is not that you're coming because I determined that I want to have influence with the elected arm. We look for candidates that, when elected, their job is to go and govern. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're seeing, and that's where we see with this current coalition, our CINP folks are working really well, as they should, but they're working as part of a government to govern. Mm-hmm. Those who have stepped up with CINP and gave up their time or indeed contributed towards the election process, they did so understanding they were not buying favors. Mm-hmm. Right? This was about electing good people to go forward. And so for us, bringing the members along is a great opportunity, and we look forward to it. For us, learning, and there are so many Caymanians out there, and they have so much to offer. They have great ideas, and this thing is built on the back of vision, great ideas, people willing to lean in, work together. And that's what we're looking for members to be part of, to make a difference, have an impact, shape this well into the future, long after I have hung up my fishing rods and passed on. This is really to build something that is generational and transforms based on what the membership needs and as the membership changes. And for us, we've sort of viewed it perhaps a bit different than others, is everybody's at the same table, regardless of, age, regardless of whatever. You sit at the same table and we share and we learn from each other, and this gets shaped on that basis.
I like that idea. And whereas I do understand youth committees, I still like the idea of everybody sitting at the same table, because sometimes a youth committee can be a little alienating, as if your voice could be a little less important, and that's not the case when we're trying to build towards the future.
Not at all.
We got to go to a commercial break. Okay. I'm a little late with this commercial break, but we'll be back in a couple minutes.
Tired of burning cash at the gas pump and wasting time in traffic? Say goodbye to gridlock and hello to freedom with a Kimco scooter from Automotive Art. Trusted in over 100 countries, Kimco is now known worldwide for reliable, fuel-efficient scooters built to last. Perfect for Cayman's roads. With 2 models to choose from, the Agility 125cc for just $23.99 and the Agility RS Naked 125cc for $24.99. It's the smart, budget-friendly way to beat traffic and cut costs. Visit Automotive Art today and ride smarter with Kimco, because saving money should never mean slowing down.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Why is it important to vaccinate children against HPV? Because research shows that the best time to get the HPV vaccine is between the ages of 9 and 14, and it takes a single dose. The HPV vaccine is the best protection available against HPV-related cancers, which impacts boys and girls, men and women. Let's arm our nation against cancer, Cayman. Get the HPV vaccine today. For more information, contact the Public Health Department on 244-2648 or 244-2889.
Parents, if you're navigating the world of boarding schools, it can feel overwhelming. Dorm and Day are here to help. You don't have to do it alone. Whether your child is reaching for new academic challenges, looking to shine as a competitive athlete, or simply searching for the school that brings out their best, Dorm and Day are your trusted educational experts located right here in Georgetown. For 10 years, Dorm and Day have helped families just like yours to find the best fit schools with one-on-one support every step of the way. So why stress when you can have an experienced partner by your side? Visit dormandday.ky or call 936-3676 today. Dorm and Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking with the Cayman Islands National Party. I have in studio with me Dan Scott, chairman of the Cayman Islands National Party, and Chelsea Rivers, a Cayman Islands National Party general member. We are waiting on the Honourable Minister Michael Myles. He's a Minister for Caymanian Employment and Immigration and also the Deputy Leader for the Cayman Islands National Party. He got caught up in a little something this morning, so we're hoping that he can still come into the studio because I know he has some news to share with us as well, and also speak from his role as the deputy leader of the party. Now, I just want to touch on something that, you had a thought that you were going to expand on. Okay, let's go back to your thought.
And maybe just back to Minister Myles. He's actually doing dad duty this morning. His daughter wasn't feeling well, so good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great dad, yes.
He'll be here as soon as he can. We were talking about the youth and the way that we've structured the party. And for us, as we look at it, I mean, today we have Minister DaCosta, who is a young man, but is very, very capable in doing great work and was a great part of the party and the team. And so youth is critically important. We have, you look at Minister Anglin, who I think was the youngest, I'm told, ever to be elected to the Legislative Assembly. Maybe I got that wrong, but he was a very young man when he was elected. Again, doing great work. So the idea that the youth have to be off to the side, we had one of our candidates, Mr. Rivers, who was also a very young man. I think the youngest candidate.
29?
Yeah,
27. Oh, not me.
And so the whole idea is that these are people that have a lot of great ideas, and that we as, I'll term myself the older folks, right? I do get the Thursday discount. I'm eligible for Thursday discount at Hurley's.
I'm shopping with you this weekend.
But the whole idea is when we talk about building a future and building it together and sharing ideas, and whether it's new things that are happening, so important to have everybody together, learning from each other, making the difference, making the positive impact.
You said a key thing in learning from each other.
Yes.
Absolutely, because that's how we move forward. And Chelsea, as you pointed out, you had you mentioned how the party worked during election season. Everybody has a different role to play, but the information that is brought back by everybody on the ground, it kind of helped shape the party's strategy and direction. And that's what you do with data information. When you gather it, you know how to make decisions a little bit better. All right. So just about to sit down and join us in studio this morning is the Honourable Michael Myles, Minister for Caymanian Employment and Immigration and the Deputy Leader for the Cayman Islands National Party. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Oh, I was telling them how excited I was having you as a guest prior to being Minister.
Well, I appreciate that.
But even as Minister, you've come on with me a couple of times, and I love that as well. So thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's good to have you. All right. So I want to go back to a question that I was going to ask you. Dan. So there is, for me, from what I've seen in Cayman, it is rare. It's almost, it never happens that a party stays together after elections. Usually they come and form during election season and they just disband. So the fact that the National Party is sticking together and has what seems to be a great plan, it signals organization to me and future planning. So when it comes to the long-term vision for the Cayman Islands National Party, can you share with us what that would be?
Well, my vision is that we were building something that would continue and last. Well, it would outlive me by a long shot, hopefully. Not that I'm planning on going anywhere soon, but that indicates, and the whole idea is that this becomes something that, as we continue to gather members, new ideas, that it will grow and it will grow in strength. As always, focused on core principles and values that we talked about. But this should continue and remain, not just for a campaign, but truly remain something that folks can get involved with. In particular, as we've talked, and I know Minister Myles has been a big advocate of this, as what is the next generation? How do we make sure that they have something that they can relate to, be part of? There is a huge amount of energy among our young people. They have great ideas. They just need to be able to help participate. And that is the thing I think that we're looking to do, is create that structure, create that environment, that continues to grow, all focused on how do we build a better Cayman? How do we continue to make sure that there are opportunities, very focused that, as we talk about everybody, but at the core focus, making sure Caymanians are seeing and getting the opportunities in this wonderful country that we call home.
Wonderful. Succession planning.
Absolutely.
That's a big thing for me. Again, especially when it comes to political season, I'd be like, why don't these established parties have a succession plan? Because you can see, obviously, that's not what the case is. So when it comes to succession planning for the National Party, what are your plans in place for that?
Well,
how are you approaching it?
I always start out, for example, in my case, in the role that I have, and it is not permanent, nor should it be. It should be, as I said, next year we will be having a vote and folks will select. But I think it's important for people to remember there comes a point in time where we will not be here, each of us, right? And rather than waiting for that time, there's a time in life that you plan and understand that if we really want to have an impact, we have to build into any program succession planning. I believe that throughout my career, and I certainly believe it as part of the National Party, and I know Minister Myles is a strong advocate for it as far as political representation, that we need to make sure that there are others that you're going to hand the baton to that will take it forward. Otherwise, if we don't do that, at the core, your points are well made, it all falls apart because it is relying on one. And no one person has all the answers, nor should they, right? This is something about a very diverse group of people across our wonderful country that are going to have different ideas, and they have to be able to feel that they're part of it and be ready to take it on and lead as they go forward. And so when I'm sitting in my rocking chair retired, I'm absolutely pleased that not only do we have a generation now that are willing to do it, Minister Myles and others, but they're getting people ready to succeed them.
Right. Thank you. Minister Myles, welcome again to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I know you had to run a little late, so I appreciate you coming in because I know it can be stressful.
Yeah.
So I think most of us know what your top priorities are as minister so far for Caymanian employment and immigration, and you've come out, hit the ground running hard, which is great. It's been great to see.
Yeah.
And now I did tell people that you might have some news to share with us this morning. So just in case, I'm putting you on the spot and saying, in case you have some breaking news right now is the time to share with us.
We are moving forward with employment. As I said to my team at immigration and certainly the team at labor and my group of folks at the Ministry of Caymanian Employment, the biggest challenges that we've always had is that we have just narrowed in on on immigration because it's been a moneymaker for the country. And what we've done is we forgot that we have people. Throughout our time with our party, the one thing that I believe that the blueprint has, that our manifesto has, is building into people. That's why I've hit the ground running, because we were prepared. We didn't look at this as building a legacy. We didn't look at this as, I need to be elected for the next 40 years. We've looked at this as, there's a job that needs to be done. Here's the blueprint for that, and that's what I'm executing. I'm executing the blueprint that our party have said this is important. After interviewing hundreds, I think we've probably interviewed over 3,000 or 4,000 voters across this country. And the number one thing that voters have said to us, you have to leave the politics out of helping and serving. And that's what, I'm a servant leader. I don't consider myself a politician. I've made it very clear to a lot of folks in government, outside the government. I hit the ground running hard because the coalition came together at the right time, and we've all put a lot of the politics aside. And a lot of that, of what we have done, is that a lot of our manifestos aligned to where we want to go. We said that we want to make sure that we can protect our country. Well, it starts with immigration. And we can no longer say to folks, well, because immigration makes a lot of money, we should just allow everyone to come into our country and do whatever they want. We can't do that anymore. But the next 4 years is going to be about ensuring that Caymanians are employed, Caymanians are trained, and Caymanians are moving up into any industry of their choice. We have to start to develop better careers. We have to break silos down, all of which has come from our manifesto. So that's where we're at. And that's the news that I will always bring. Have we made strides? Absolutely. We made a lot of strides over the last 4.5 months. I'm excited because I'm learning every day on how to make sure that our people are better, that our people feel appreciated, not just the people in our departments, but the people on the ground, people that are paying their bills every day, that are good, hard-working Caymanians who want to buy a little house and grow old in our country and be able to afford to live. We want to make sure that things like healthcare is affordable, that our schools are not falling apart, that education is still at the highest level, that our kids, if they want to go off to college, have the opportunity. Our country spends almost $40 million a year on tertiary education, and yet many of our young people come back to our country and they can't find a job. It's unconscionable. Through our manifesto, we have said, here's where we want to go, and I'm sticking to that. And that's why our party have stuck together. That's why we've elected more party members. That's why we have said our leadership have to also start with insulating it with the people that are going to succeed us, right? And what I've said to Don is that, my goal is to train up my successor. My goal isn't to make sure that I'm doing this for the next 15 years, right? And if the next 4 years my successor is ready, my job is to step aside and let my successor move on. That's where I believe that it will show really what our party is made out of, where it doesn't have to be me that leads it. It's me passing the torch on.
Gotcha. An easy, seamless transition.
Absolutely.
I believe the last time that I had you in studio, it was you, it was Mr. Tony Powell, and I think it's Miss Jacqueline Terry, which is they're the chair and deputy chair of the Caymanian Status and PR Board. And I believe then when I said, okay, we're looking at some legislative changes, around when do we hope these changes will be enacted? And I think then you told me September. So
we did, and then
September?
we've
update. Okay.
So the document that we call the reforms are coming. What we are now doing is looking at more public consultation. Everything of what we've done, we want to be very thoughtful about what we want to do. This is not a knee-jerk reaction anymore. Immigration is very complex. However, we need to simplify it for not just our people, but our foreign contingency. So what we're now doing is looking at rolling out a 3 to 4 week before, because this will go to Parliament, I would say in probably November now. We go to Finance Committee today and tomorrow. On October 15th, we go to Parliament to deal with a number of Section 12s. And then from there, we are looking at how we move a number of reforms in our November sitting of Parliament. My hope is at this point in time is that once we can engage the private sector and public sector, because the first people that I've had to engage in this is our people from immigration, right? I think the one thing that we often forget is we have people who are doing this every single day, and we don't ask their opinion. So hence why I've had Mr. Powell and certainly Ms. Terry in here with me, because I went to the CSPR board, the BSP board, the work permit board, the Kim and Brock board, and I've said to them, tell me what you guys are seeing rather than me coming in as a minister. I'm not an expert in it. I wanted to hear from them. They have provided me a scope of all the things of what they've been seeing, not just the last 4 years, but the last 20 years, right? And we've said, okay, we need to change that. But then I matched it up against what we did for our Caymanians National Party. It's the exact same thing. The boards were saying the exact same thing that we've put in place when we put our manifesto in place. Then I matched up against what our coalition has been talking about. It's identical. Those are the reforms that are coming. So what we want to do now is roll it out into the private sector and see what their thoughts are. I've been trumpeting it for the last 3.5 months. I met with a lot of private sector partnerships. They like what the reforms are because the reforms are going to make immigration more efficient. I don't want to jam up any organization in a company or, certainly in the industry. Our goal really is to protect Cayman. Immigration should be set up to, first protect our borders. It's not set up that way. And then protect our citizens. It's not set up that way. Immigration was always set up to increase population and to collect fees. We can't go down, we can't continue to do that, right? Because our people are drowning. We're also not getting our return of investment from the people who are coming back in the country. Currently, we have 960 young people that are in a tertiary education school somewhere around the world. What happens when those kids come back? Right? We have to make sure that those young people come back, have a career path in our country, because currently we don't have that. We have another 500 plus kids between UCCI, ICCI, Prepping Catholic that are doing their A levels. What happens when those youngsters want a job in our country? We have pushing 38,000 work permits. What happens? We've never said to the private sector, there has to be space for Caymanians in this.
I have to say something here. Now, I was speaking to a Caymanian business owner yesterday, very well-known business, very well-known, generations-long family here in the Cayman Islands. Absolutely not going to say who they are.
Yeah, sure.
And they said to me, Kathy, if I could have everybody in a work permit, I would. And I kind of melted in my car in that conversation. And I said, why? And he goes, yes, there's people who want to work, but they don't really always want to work. They don't want to follow the rules. There's not everybody that has that working mindset. So in hearing, I guess, some of his frustrations, and I've heard this from a number of employers, and it breaks my heart in a sense because there's amazing Caymanians out there who are absolutely capable. It breaks my heart to hear that. So you did say you don't want to make things any more complicated for the companies as well. It's a very fine line to balance the needs for the people. Are we employing them? And are we meeting the needs for the companies? Are we being able to give them the labor that they actually require? That's a fine line. So when it comes to dealing with the companies, the business owners, how are you approaching, I guess, that angle?
So here's what we are doing, right? All business owners have a responsibility to train up Caymanians. We are pouring $40 million in it, and that's just the government. When we look at private sector scholarships and so forth, probably comes up to another $20 million. So what a private sector company will do is they will give a Dan Scott a scholarship, but they won't hire him. They're not going to pave a way for him to come back and work for their company. How fair is that?
Not fair
right?
at all.
It's not fair at all. I've heard the argument where organizations, and I met with a number of business leaders, and I hear the argument is, well, Caymanians don't want to work. And I'm insulted by that because I'm a Caymanian. Dan's Caymanian. Chelsea's Caymanian. All of my family's Caymanian. All of us are working. There are been some bad experiences with a few people who business owners have said, you know something, I've hired this youngster, they didn't come in. Why should 40,000 Caymanians be held accountable for one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in America. In particular, Kentucky. Because of the color of my skin, people discriminated against me. Should I hold 300 million Americans accountable for being racist? I can't. It would be unfair. So why should a business owner hold 40,000 Caymanians accountable for one or two Caymanians that they've had a bad experience with? Mm-hmm. I have never said that we're going to get 100% Caymanians in employment. I have said that every Caymanian that wants a job in the Cayman Islands should have one, and they should be trained. So what's happening now is that I have Caymanians calling me and saying, hey, they made my job redundant, and then they turn around and advertise it and put a different name on it. Mm-hmm. How fair is that?
Yeah.
Right? This is happening more often than we think. Now, I am seeing a lot of ads that are on Jobs Caymanian, that are on Jobs Cayman, we know that they're hiring an expat. We know it's a work permit renewal. Mm-hmm. How fair is that? And I'm constantly saying to business owners, we know that we have more jobs than we have Caymanians. Therefore, and I've looked at our general register, we have over 100,000 companies. I'm asking you to hire 1,000 Caymanians that are unemployed. Train them up. Give them the opportunity. I've had this conversation with Cayman Finance. I've had the conversations with CETA. I've had conversations with the construction industry. And I've said to them, there has to be a level. Every one of us came into some level of mentoring. Everyone came in to where someone took a special interest and say, you know something, I know that you can do this. I would have never been a business owner if I wasn't coached by someone. I ran my own business. I'm a social worker, right? I didn't know how to run a business. I was coached into that. When I became a social worker, someone took me under their wing and helped me along. Similar with Don, similar with Chelsea. We were all. So why are we not expecting businesses to do the same thing for young people coming in? What a lot of organizations are now saying is that they simply just want to go straight to a work permit. We're not doing that anymore. Mm-hmm. That is what we did 10 years ago, even 4 years ago, even 2 years ago. That is not going to be done in the next 4 years. So I have said, let's sit down at the table and I will do everything I possibly can to make sure we streamline the process. But it has to include Caymanians, mm-hmm. right? It has to include the training of Caymanians. It has to also include the mentoring of Caymanians. And it's not just the private sector. I'm having this discussion in the Cayman Islands government. I meet quite often with the chief officer of POCS. We've had conversations because the government cannot also continue to set policy and laws but not follow them. How do we also have a lot of youngsters coming back on scholarships, but the government doesn't know, yet they're getting scholarships from the government, right?
That doesn't make no sense.
It doesn't, but this is what happens because of the siloed system. So we have education, the Minister of Education gives a scholarship. The kids' information is not shared. So therefore, when those youngsters come back and they're coming back looking employment, POCS don't know that they're away. Certainly labor doesn't know that they're away. And none of the private sector organizations know that they're away. So the youngsters come back and they're saying, I'm frustrated because after 4 years, you told me that if I got a degree, I'd get a job. Mm-hmm. And now you're telling me that because a work permit holder is in that job, I can't get that job and I'm qualified for that job. So what I am doing is I'm streamlining the process. We have to open up dialogue with everyone now, including the private sector and the civil service, and we have to realign it that everybody knows of the 1,500 young people that we have on island that's doing our education process and overseas. If we do that, we all win. When Caymanians win, our entire country wins. When Caymanians lose, they will burn this down to the ground.
I have to end you there. That was a great clip, though, right there. Everything you said was great. Thank you for sharing that.
Appreciate it.
I hate to say that we have to end because I missed the commercial break. And I know Susan was in my ear for a minute, so we're going to play the commercials right before the 9 a.m. news. I'm going to give you a minute to wrap on anything.
So if I can underscore the point that Minister Myles has made, and it is extremely disappointing to hear a Cayman business owner make the comments that you've just noted.
Mm-hmm.
Reality is I built a career, spent 40 years in a firm, and for the last part of that ran a region. And the reality is Caymanians are hardworking. The reality for us is that we need to make a difference in all the things Mr. Myles expressed, what companies need to do. And if we fail to do that, we do not deserve the support to continue to bring labor in. To run our businesses, we need it. We don't have enough Caymanians. But for somebody to suggest that Caymanians are lazy, so we're not going to have them, that is despicable.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly am not lazy. You look around this table for the four of us and other Caymanians, and that is the big lie that has been told.
Yeah.
And we need to stop doing it.
Thank you. It's a conversation. It's something I had to bring up because it was just yesterday.
Absolutely.
I had it. I was like, I know I'm having Minister Myles on tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I'm happy that you brought it up.
That balance.
Because I heard it. I hear it often.
And it's something to discuss.
It
and
is.
this is why I love having you on, because we can have these kind of candid conversations.
Well, I'm quite frank in what I need to say.
Yeah, which is great. This is why we get along. It's direct. I love it. I would love to have you guys on again because we didn't even cover half the things that we wanted to. So I would love to have you on again. You know that I'd always like to have you on.
Absolutely.
So we're looking at a date for you anyways for October.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that. Thank you so much. I have to go to the commercial break and then the 9 a.m. headline news, and then I'm talking with the Procurement Office right after that.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Tired of burning cash at the gas pump and wasting time in traffic? Say goodbye to gridlock and hello to freedom with a Kimco scooter from Automotive Art. Trusted in over 100 countries, Kimco is now known worldwide for reliable, fuel-efficient scooters built to last. Perfect for Cayman's roads. With two models to choose from, the Agility 125cc for just $23.99 and the Agility RS Naked 125cc for $24.99. It's the smart, budget-friendly way to beat traffic and cut costs. Visit Automotive Art today and ride smarter with Kimco, because saving money should never mean slowing down.
Parents, if you're navigating the world of boarding schools, it can feel overwhelming. Dorm and Day are here to help. You don't have to do it alone. Whether your child is reaching for new academic challenges, looking to shine as a competitive athlete, or simply searching for the school that brings out their best, Dorm and Day are your trusted educational experts located right here in Georgetown. For 10 years, Dorm and Day have helped families just like yours to find the best fit schools with one-on-one support every step of the way. So why stress when you can have an experienced partner by your side? Visit dormandday.ky or call 936-3676 today. Dorm and Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures.
It's time to prepare for our most popular annual event, HomeFest at A.L. Thompson's. The huge Home Expo is in its 15th year and will see almost 100 reps from your favorite and new major brands. Attend HomeFest and you will get deep discounts, enjoy demos, receive gifts, win prizes, and learn about new and exciting products for your home. Let us welcome you to HomeFest on September 26th and 27th at A.L. Thompson's.
Yesterday,
today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Finance Committee is meeting in Parliament today. You'll be able to listen to proceedings live on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM. That meeting is scheduled to start at 10 a.m. In international news, Denmark says drones flown over its airports appear to be the work of a, quote, professional actor, but there was no evidence of Russian involvement after such activity disrupted its airspace for a second time in a week. The airport was forced to shut down for several hours on Wednesday evening after green lights were spotted overhead, while another airport was also briefly closed. 3 smaller ones also reported drone activity. On Monday, Copenhagen Airport temporarily closed due to a drone incursion. The former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been sentenced to 5 years in jail after being found guilty of criminal conspiracy in a case related to millions of euros of illicit funds from the late Libyan leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. The Paris Criminal Court acquitted him of all other charges, including passive corruption and illegal campaign financing. The ruling means he will spend time in jail even if he launches an appeal, which Sarkozy says he intends to do. Speaking after this morning's hearing, the 70-year-old, who was president between 2007 and 2012, said the verdict was, quote, extremely serious for rule of law. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are discussing government procurement. And in studio with me this morning, I was about to say in office with me this morning. Wow. Okay. In studio, we have Victor Crumbly, procurement manager, and apparently who Vic dubs as procurement himself is Mr. Robert Tatum. He's a deputy director for the Procurement Office, and allegedly, if you ask him to recite the law as it has to do with procurement, he can do so on the spot.
Oh, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Robert.
we can take a few swings at it, see what happens.
I'm glad you picked up on the allegedly right there. So no, I'm not taking any bets on that. I said allegedly. All right, so we are talking about procurement, which is basically how government buys goods and services from small supplies to multi-million-dollar infrastructure projects. Done well, procurement ensures fairness, transparency, and value for public money. Done poorly, it can create frustration and distrust. So this is what I'm hoping is the beginning of a 3-part series. So we're doing a general overview on the Procurement Office today. Then I'm going to have a discussion with some entrepreneurs, business owners who go through the procurement process, what their experiences have been, the frustrations. We know it's going to be mostly that, guys. Some good stories too, I hope to get. So I'm going to have a roundtable with them and then invite you guys back on to discuss what some of those issues are, how Procurement Office is looking at it, how you're trying to move forward with things. Some solutions, right? We want to be solutions oriented, not just complain about things, right? So this is the beginning of that 3-part series. So to kick everything off, for those who may not be familiar, what exactly is the Procurement Office and what role does it play in government spending? Mr. Tatum.
I'll take this one. So the Procurement Office is really an advisory function, first and foremost. So our responsibilities are to make sure that we provide advice and guidance to what we would refer to as our procuring entities. And when they're carrying out their process, so they decide what's being bought, they decide how much is getting budgeted or spent, they decide how those contracts are going to be allocated or broken up. All of those steps are decided by those entities. However, there's a strategy behind it. So they should be following our templates, which again is something that we provide. So when they're writing their business case that justifies why they're spending money, we write those templates to pull the right information out of them. What's our current problems? What solutions have we analyzed? Which solution have we selected? How are we going to go about procuring that? These are the things that if you come to us, we would ask you anyway. So we've set up that template to get that information from them. Same thing on the RFP side. We provide a template there that makes sure that there's a balance.
You got to break down.
Yes, sorry.
I told you he's Mr. Procurement.
RFP, request for proposal. It's most people would be familiar with that term. Some people may know it as an intent to bid, invitation to bid, things like this. But at the end of the day, it's us inviting the public or the business community to offer their services in line with our specifications. In terms of the role we play in government spending, we don't spend a whole lot of money at the Central Procurement Office. The main thing we do in terms of influencing government spend is we set up what would be referred to as a framework agreement, meaning that we can go out and establish contracts with suppliers that have a fixed price or some sort of pricing structure that other entities can access if they need it. So, for example, we have one for mobile telephone services, we have one for office supplies, we have one for computers. And this is just us saying, hey, community, come offer us your prices. We kind of present it, I'll call it menu style, to our procuring entities. So like how you'd go to a restaurant and you would be able to select whatever you want off of that menu. Mm-hmm. It's our job to put that menu together, and then it's the entity's job to come and order the supplies that they need. And that's done for goods and products that pretty much the entire government's going to use. And that's kind of our main role in influencing spending. Other than that, it's the advice and the templates and the provision of the electronic portal, which we'll talk about a little later.
Okay. Why is procurement so important, not just for the government operation, but for the public and private sectors as well?
I know Vic's going to want to chime in on this one. So I'll keep this one short for myself. It's procurement, one of the few ways we engage with private industry and spend money and put that money back into the economy that way. Obviously, there's government salaries and other ways that government kind of disperses funds. But for the public sector, it's very important because it lets us kind of choose the direction of travel. So where are we going to invest that public money? Mm-hmm. And then for the private sector, obviously, it lets them know the things that the government is supporting, and it lets them know where they should be making their investments in private business to be on the other side of that contract, to be in a position to provide that. So if we don't indicate to people, this is what we're going to be buying and investing in, they may not invest in their side of the business to be able to provide it. And that's where you end up with situations where maybe there's no one on island able to provide something. Mm-hmm. And you have to go internationally to procure that. So that to me is probably the main connection between the two outside of obviously keeping the government running in government operations.
Okay. Vic, you want me to repeat the question? Or?
No, I think Robert summed it up very well. I think just to kind of add on to that, I think it's important for us to sort of, it should be noted the law came into effect in 2018. Yeah. So it's still, in some respects, fairly new. And one of the roles of our office is also to provide training to these entities as well, in terms of using the templates and giving the proper guidance and how to conduct public procurement. So for me, when it comes to the private sector, I should say, I would want to give them the utmost confidence in that we're doing this following procedures and policies to give them the confidence in doing business with government. Coming from the small business background that I used to have, you've heard the stories. You've had the frustrations and the experiences sometimes with public procurement. So it's important for us in the office to sort of combat those connotations that people may have. It has been improving. It's doing very well, and we think that doing appearances such as this, the Small Business Expo, which is coming up as well next week, and then getting into things like the principles of procurement, which we're going to, I guess, talk about shortly. We want to instill confidence in the vendors out there, that what they're doing and engaging with us, and we're coming from a transparent model. We're holding people accountable, and we're doing our best to come to a level playing field and have everybody participate in a good fashion. And I think that's the most important for me when it comes to being a part of this office and sort of combating what is out there. Yeah.
I'm about to get controversial right now. And
always. It's the buzz. Let's go. Always.
Just trying to put you in the hot seat, Vic. Is it really a level playing field? And the reason I ask that is because let's say it was there was a bid for constructing something, and it was a really multi-million-dollar project, and Cayman's business community, the lifeblood of it is really the several hundred smaller, medium-sized businesses that we have here, right? So you have the smaller construction firms or development companies, that kind of thing. Let's just stick with a construction company. And they might want to bid for these projects. And it would involve them bringing in a lot more workers, per se. But then you have the companies that are really, really big, really big construction companies. And it's like, well, automatically they're almost pushing out the smaller people because they have those resources. So is it really a level playing field, per se?
It is because, we put these out publicly. So anything that's over $100,000 has to go through the Bonfire portal, which is our website that we use. So everyone is getting the same information at the same time. It's sort of like a job application, so to speak.
It is.
You have to put together this proposal, which is the RFP, which Robert spoke to earlier, request for proposal. And within that, there are going to be certain requirements that you have to make. And everyone has the same opportunity to hit those requirements. We can get into the details later in terms of how a bonfire will work when it comes to that. But yes, the information goes out at the same time to everyone. Everyone is free to see if that procurement is right for them. If they choose to do so, they can participate, and there's nothing stopping them from getting the input and advice from CPO on how to do that, how to go after these contracts, which is something that we're going to do at the Small Business Expo as well. But no one should feel as if they're not able to do so. Now, there may be something in that requirement that you may not have or possess, but again, it's on the businesses to get into that game, into that arena. If we say we need X amount of liability and insurance or whatever to conduct this multi-million-dollar project, it's on you as a business owner to go out and to make sure that is in place once you want to apply for this particular procurement. So yeah, listen, like I said, I get it. And it's no different from regular competition. As a small business, we talk about the mom and pop stores when it comes to Walmart and Target. But it's on us as entrepreneurs, as small businesses, to get crafty. And there's no reason why you can't go out and, work with another vendor and combine and go after certain bids. So a lot of these things people just aren't aware of. But I do think one thing that happens is that when an RFP goes out, I've seen it before, people will sort of treat it like job applications, right? They will send the same application to 17 different jobs and say, man, I didn't get a response. I didn't get picked for this job. But every RFP, RFQ, request for proposal, request for quote is different.
Yes.
Yeah. So each one has, pricing may be weighted at this particular criteria. For this job, we want you to have XYZ liability or experience in this type of field. And we've seen that. We've seen where people will send out the blanket response and they're not really crafting it and tailoring it to that specific request for proposal.
That's so interesting to me.
So then they get frustrated and say, well, why didn't I win? And then even that within the law, within the act, you're allowed to get a debrief. A debrief on why you didn't win this particular contract, and then the entity will take you through this is some of the points you missed on. This is what we were looking for. And a lot of people don't take advantage of that. They don't take the time to request that. Some of them just don't know.
Some don't want to know how to improve. Be able to win a bid. Basically, that's how I look at it.
No, I think.
I mean, yeah.
So even when we go and talk public procurement, it's scary to people. From the entity side, everyone wants to make sure that they're obeying the law. They're nervous. There's, I want to buy this for $10. Did I do this? So I get it. And then from a vendor side, it only takes one frustration sometimes, and you say, "Man, I'm out of here. Never mind. I'm not doing this again. Oh, that game is rigged. I'm not playing." And that's just not the case. So again, coming from a small business background, that's one of my main concerns is when we promote messages. I want to make sure that that's getting home. And granted, listen, if you're a mom and pop store and you're used to, repairing, this small level of type of construction, you may not be able to bid on a $50 million school. It's just
right.
It's
you
just
have
the reality,
to be logical.
right? Yeah, but then that's not to say that there's not other things there for you.
Well, when you said that there can be collaborations with other possible vendors, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about that. So is that a regular occurrence that you'll see at Central Procurement Office?
Yes, so these consortiums are nothing new, especially in construction. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't consider them a consortium, for example, you'll have a general contractor with subcontractors, which is standard setup. You could aim to be a subcontractor. So you, as the private sector entity, need to go and put those relationships in place that when a job comes up that is too large for you by yourself, your name or your business is in the conversation at those larger companies to say, well, we're going to sub this part out to such and such supplier. So there's a lot that you can do in the background that has nothing to do with public procurement, because public procurement's on the one side of the coin. A lot of that, and if we stick to construction, happens in private industry as well. So those relationships are happening all the time. And the majority of work the government does with construction is either going to be, especially large projects, some sort of consortium, or a general contractor, subcontractor type relationship. So there's a lot of work that the entities can do, and we welcome that. We have no issues with that at all. And the other thing I just want to add to something that Victor said is a lot of the time people pick up the RFP documents or the tender package, whatever you're familiar with calling it. They'll read it and say, I don't meet something, put it down and walk away. Mm. But the majority, I would say 99%, I don't think I've seen one that doesn't have what we call our question period, allows you to ask the government entity that's running the procurement, I can't meet this, would you accept this as an alternative? And they have that ability to say yes or no, depending on if it meets the intent of what that is there for. Mm-hmm. So for example, if there's a public liability insurance requirement and it's $5 million or whatever the case may be, you may say, oh, that's ridiculous. I wonder if I ask if $1 million is sufficient, if they would consider it. When they answer that question, they do have to answer it to everyone. So that change would then apply across the board. Mm-hmm. And we've seen that happen in multiple cases where either the requirement itself is amended because someone's asked a question, or the alternative is acceptable. So they will still accept what was there, or if you provide this additional or this other thing, they will consider that a acceptable submission as well. So we don't want people just picking it up and thinking this is set in stone. It cannot change. All you're seeing when you pick up that package is that government entities' best attempt at describing to you what they want while protecting themselves. Mm-hmm. So if you have other solutions that could meet that same requirement, most of the time they are more than happy to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
So that's something that we don't think gets done enough. And again, it's one of those things where if you're not registered in our system, for example, which is free, Cayman.bonfirehub.com, that's step one. Because if you don't have access to those opportunities, you're already kind of dead in the water. Yeah. And it's not always big opportunities that are there. So one of the things that Victor mentioned was this $100,000 figure, which sounds huge to a small business. But that $100,000 is what we refer to as the contract value, meaning that could be a 5-year contract that is $20,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So it's a much smaller contract annually. So just because something's on there doesn't necessarily mean it is a massive project. It does require you to read what's required over what length of time and determine if that's suitable for your business. And even if it's not suitable for your business, feel free to pass it on to someone that it is suitable for them, or reach out to someone and say, I think we could partner on this and make a submission.
Okay, gotta stop you there. Yes. I'm way past my commercial break right now.
Sorry, Susan.
So we're going to go to the commercial break right now. When we come back, we're going to touch on bonfire a lot more.
Okay.
Parents, if you're navigating the world of boarding schools, it can feel overwhelming. Dorm and Day are here to help. You don't have to do it alone. Whether your child is reaching for new academic challenges, looking to shine as a competitive athlete, or simply searching for the school that brings out their best, Dorm and Day are your trusted educational experts located right here in Georgetown. For 10 years, Dorm and Day have helped families just like yours to find the best fit schools with one-on-one support every step of the way. So why stress when you can have an experienced partner by your side? Visit dormandday.ky or call 936-3676 today. Dorm and Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures.
Tired of burning cash at the gas pump and wasting time in traffic? Say goodbye to gridlock and hello to freedom with a Kimco scooter from Automotive Art. Trusted in over 100 countries, Kimco is now known worldwide for reliable, fuel-efficient scooters built to last. Perfect for Cayman's roads. With 2 models to choose from, the Agility 125cc for just $23.99 and the Agility RS Naked 125cc for $24.99. It's the smart, budget-friendly way to beat traffic and cut costs. Visit Automotive Art today and ride smarter with Kimco, because saving money should never mean slowing down.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
At 35 miles per hour, you have 3 seconds to react. At 50 miles per hour, just 1.5 seconds. That split second you save speeding could be the split second that saves a life. Most fatal crashes in Cayman involve speeding. Slow down, because arriving late is better than never arriving at all. Smart or reckless, your choice changes everything. Visit gov.ky/road safety.
Breaking news. What Happening is back.
The funniest comedy show in Cayman.
With even more island drama.
Come see the Riff Raff.
Hurry up and buy.
Come and see Cayman's new immigration department.
Hurry up and buy.
Come and watch the drama unfold live at the Harkwheel Theatre.
Give me money right now.
September 26th until October 12th. Get your tickets at ticketsplus.ky before all the laughs are sold out. Proudly presented by the Cayman National Cultural Foundation.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking about government procurement. And in studio, I have with me Victor Crumbly, Procurement Manager, and Robert Tatum, the Procurement Office himself. He's the Deputy Director. I'm just saying that because that's how Vic introduced him. And Vic is going to learn not to say certain things to me in confidence because I'm just going to run with it sometimes. You know, that wasn't really in confidence. Come on. We're bigging up Robert and the fact that he knows so much here. I'll make you blush, don't worry. And then you'll be like, I can't wait to come back. Oh, it's how I bring people back. You got to make them feel good. I want you to just elaborate a little bit more on Bonfire, because you said it was for projects that have a $100,000 value or higher.
Yes.
Right?
So that's our e-procurement system. It is mandatory for use at that value, but it can be used at any value. So there's some entities that do put much smaller projects on there, which is, again, one of the things we tell people. Register, because you never know what's going to show up. You know for certain that the projects that are 100,000 and above that are going to be competitively tendered are going to be on there, but there may be some much smaller opportunities that people put out as well. It's a free-to-use system, so all you need is an email to register.
Okay.
It's going to ask you for some basic details, your name, your company name, things like that. Once you're registered, that's all it takes to view all of the documents related to a project that the government is running, and then you can decide if that is right for you or not and make a submission through the system. It eliminates a lot of the issues that you would have with older style of procurement. You don't get stuck in traffic, for example, trying to come make your submission. You can do it from home or from the office. There's funny stories, actually, not from here, but that I've heard in other countries where bidders would literally cause traffic accidents on purpose to stop to cause traffic and stop other people from getting to the box. These are $100 million projects, so what's a fender bender to them, right?
Right.
Obviously, it's just kind of funny.
It's an expense, it's a write-off.
That's very wild. But it is helpful in that you can start and stop submissions as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to upload your trade and business license and one other thing, and then you're going to go away and come back and work on it, that information's there. So you don't have to wait to the last minute.
Okay.
It shows you every document that's required, and it won't let you upload without having all of those. So it also stops you from making an incomplete submission. Mm-hmm. We get emails every now and again saying, oh, I forgot this, or I didn't think about this, or whatever the case may be. So it eliminates a lot of that. Like, that may happen once or twice a year now, as opposed to before it would be, oh, is there a process for withdrawing, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If you make a submission, you can unsubmit and make a correction prior to the deadline as well.
Okay.
So it's very flexible from that view. And I think it's just, honestly, the way the world's going, everything is on the internet. Mm-hmm. There are some misconceptions about Bonfire itself. So, for example, we still see a lot of people waiting to the last minute to start to make uploads.
Please don't do that.
And we think it may be because people think that we can view what you upload prior to the deadline. We cannot view at any level of permissions.
Even if you could view, what is it? Are they worried that you might take that information and give it to a friend who might be bidding? Is that
typically? I would assume that's what the hesitancy is. But it's very secure, so we can't access any of that information. If you upload the day after a tender goes out, it will just sit there saying so-and-so has made a submission.
Yeah.
But it also protects the supplier, because you get an automatic receipt that you've made a submission, so your documents can't get lost. Mm-hmm. All of the actions that happen with your submission are also tracked by the system, and a lot of it's time-stamped. Mm-hmm. So with the old style of physical submissions, you didn't necessarily know where your documents were, who had them. Mm-hmm. Now we have to control the back end of that, which is we know exactly who's been given access to those documents, so it's a lot more transparent. Yeah. If a score is changed, for example, that's recorded in the system, and we can run a report that shows this person was scored 8 out of 10, and then they were mysteriously downgraded to 6 out of 10. Mm-hmm. The system requires you to enter comments on our side as the reviewer as well, so that score has to be backed up with a rationale. So it eliminates a lot of the issues you would have, I would say, with the older system that may have gotten procurement as bad of a name as it is. But just to be clear, we're not here to say everything is now perfect. And there's nothing to worry about. We know there are issues, and we actively work to fix those every single day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things I wanted to make sure we highlighted, was that when you do make a submission, all of the projects, they have to have sort of a lock feature, because we do evaluate in sections to prevent that bias.
Okay.
So pricing, for example, will always be released last.
Okay.
So proposals are scored on their own merit before seeing the price, and they say, wait, I like this price, let me try to nudge it over here. And then one of our compliance checks that we do on all the projects on Bonfire is to ensure that the information is locked. So that's something that the public can be assured of, is that we're trying our best to make sure that happens. Because even just, you mentioned the submission thing. To this day, we still get them. I saw a project that was on close at 12 o'clock. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And the submissions come in at 11:45, 11:59. And it's like, you got to be very careful, because the system is very sensitive. If you're in the middle of a submission and the deadline time hits, you're locked out. You're locked out. And then again, even in our templates and our documents, we recommend please start your submission before. And at least get it in at least a day before.
And you can save as you're ongoing.
And you can save as it's ongoing as well, too. Yeah. And then back to like even that question period that Robert mentioned, a lot of people aren't aware of. If there is a project that goes out and you are up in that industry and you say, wait a minute, we may need more time to put together this proposal or this quote. You're free to ask that in the question period. You can ask for projects to be extended. It's not always a guarantee that it will happen. But again, trying to empower the vendor as well and to increase that dialogue, that back and forth.
Extension period would be granted to everybody that would be bidding on that, right?
Yes, within that project.
So any change that would be made to that project at all, whether it was a request coming from somebody bidding, that change would be made to everybody.
And that goes back to the principles, That goes back to the fairness,
And we have to do that for all questions as well. So if someone asks a question, we have to answer that question publicly. So we're not giving one person more information than the next.
Right. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. The transparency right there. We have to wrap, guys. I'm a couple minutes over. I can't remember if there was one more thing you wanted to mention about RFPs. I'll give you the minute.
Nah, we'll come back. You made us feel really nice, so we'll come back.
That's what
but in the meantime, before that, October 2nd, our office will be at the Small Business Expo. It's put on by the Center for Business Development. It'll be at Hotel Indigo. We'll be there all day. Robert has given me permission to give away some free items.
Ooh.
Some
free contracts, I was going to say, but no.
I was going to make sure, pens and notebooks. But yeah, please do. If you're interested to learn more, feel free to come out to the Hotel Indigo next week, October 2nd. We'll be there, and I'll bring Robert for you so you can ask him all your hot questions and
ask him to recite the law on spot. No problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna make him practice.
And that's a free workshop. I want people to really understand it's a free workshop. It's a government procurement workshop. I think it's an amazing workshop for them to put on, and I'm really glad that you guys are offering this to the public to better understand the procedures, to ask their questions. To me, it's all about transparency. We know things can be difficult, but they'll stay forever difficult if we don't address it and try to figure out what the solutions are, how we can move forward. So I appreciate you guys coming on and doing this. There's a lot to learn on both sides, and we can just kind of learn together, and that's what we're trying to do here. Thank you so much for joining me again this morning on The Buzz. I look forward to having you guys on shortly in October after I have a roundtable discussion with businesses that do bid on procurement.
I'll be listening, yeah.
I know you will be. And then we're going to have you guys back on after that to address what their comments were. All right. So thank you so much. This is all about, building a better government, building a better Cayman, and just transparency and fairness all around. Thanks for joining us on The Buzz. I will be back with you next week. It'll be our final Tuesday of the month, which is crazy. The week has gone by so fast. A reminder that Caribbean Haven is having basically a free family fun day at the Cayman Turtle Center on Saturday. You can check out Caribbean Haven for more information on that. And we also have the Robert Hamady Memorial 5K walk run happening on Sunday. And I think it's Sunday, geez. I should know that because we are sponsoring it. Go check out the social media pages right there for more information as well. All right, thanks for hanging out with me on The Buzz. I'll be back with you on Tuesday.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman, your car, our passion. And by Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures. Visit dormanday.ky.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman.